Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello and welcome, dear viewer, to another exciting, wonderful, invigorating episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. And I'm not exaggerating, guys. You're going to be blown over with this one. My guest is Latoya De'Shaun. I hope I'm saying that name right. She's from the US of A. And I prefer that my guests introduce themselves. But before she comes on, would you do me the kindness of just pressing that button? It's right there in front of you. Subscribe, please. Just hit that nice little button because we need to get to more people. As you know, we're bringing you life-changing, empowering business education all the time, and it comes in all shapes and sizes, entrepreneurs of all stripes. Welcome to the studio, Madam Latoya De'Shaun.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor, it's a privilege indeed. I think the starting point would be just a short intro, maybe a condensed CV.
Yeah. Okay, let's condense it. I'm Latoya De'Shaun. I consider myself the creatives consultant and a personal makeup artist to high-profile talent. Yes, I live in Los Angeles by way of Chicago, by way of Cameroon. And so I'm out here. This is my third year here in Gaborone, Botswana. It feels like home, and so I'm here to serve, and we'll talk about that.
Okay. Tell me about your academic background, training.
Academic background. So I hold a associate's, a bachelor's, and a master's degree in education. I also have a background in agriculture. So I went to an agricultural high school, which we like to call the last farm in Chicago. And then I continued on to get my agricultural degree at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
What's it called?
University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
Oh, okay.
It's a Big Ten, one of the most popular schools in America.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's great. Forgive my ignorance. I'm from this part of the world. And tell me, what industry are you in, and what drove you to that industry?
I consider myself to first and foremost be a part of the service industry. I've been doing service since 14 years old, working from high-end luxury banquets to retail to the entertainment industry to now what I'm doing in personal development. So, but if you want to just sum it all up, I say I'm in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Yes. All
right. And who introduced you to it? How did you sort of get into the entertainment industry?
You know, I don't think that it's something that chased me. I always knew I wanted to make a lot of money. I knew that I wanted to, that I was really good in working in luxury. I recognized that at about 16 years old. And then when I went into retail and I started breaking records and then working for some of the top companies, it just seemed obvious to kind of stay in this field of luxury. Yeah.
And let's spend a bit of time defining luxury. What does that mean?
So for me, luxury is when you are not trading your time for money. That's when you are now luxurious lifestyle, or what I like to call freedom. Yeah. And so for me, I can make a large amount of money in very limited time because my goal was to always get my time back. And so luxury, if I work in makeup, it's the most well-known companies internationally. Okay, if I'm working in entertainment, then we're talking about high-profile talent. Yes, if we're talking about even the food industry where I started, I'm not just working at your restaurant. I'm doing banquet style. I'm serving a crowd of hundreds. Yeah.
When did you attain financial freedom yourself? And when did that happen?
I like to think I obtained freedom. I'm still working towards financial freedom. But I would have to say a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, when I delved deep into the business that I'm in now, that I recognized how to move and pursue personal freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's talk about your business in LA. Is it LA or Chicago?
So it's a Los Angeles-based company. Yes.
Tell us about your business there in LA in terms of how it does and how it performed. Then in a moment, we'll talk about your transition to Botswana.
Absolutely. So 2014, I woke up one day and I always knew I didn't want to be in Chicago full time. And I was also getting fired from many jobs in retail. So it became a thing. I was kind of used to it at this point.
You stay in average of what, 6 months, 1 year?
Less than that.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I just kind of do my time and leave. And that's when I also realized that I like projects. So I'm a person that likes to complete a job and then kind of move on. I also realized I wasn't successful just working in an office because I like to talk a lot and mingle. And people like to stay there for long hours. And again, that's not freedom for me. I want to do my work and leave. And so makeup just kind of happened in 2007 when I started working for the biggest makeup company.
Which is?
MAC Cosmetics.
Oh, okay.
That was my first gig in makeup.
Okay.
And the best training I've ever received. And so I also pursued my master's degree at that time. I also was studying abroad at that time. So there was a lot
as in?
When I was in college, I was going to different countries to study.
In Africa, Europe?
I started with China, and then I went to France, and then right after that, I went to Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did all of that like within a year, and the school paid for everything.
Wonderful.
That's why it's the most amazing school ever.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I moved. So fast forward, I ended up breaking records in retail. Really understood it as a business. Knew where I was actually good in it, which is again my level of service. And then I just was like,
before you leave that thing, you just dropped a nugget there. You say you broke records. What records you broke, and how did that happen?
So retail records. So if I'm working on the floor and I'm selling makeup, I broke a record at the second largest retail store in the United States of America, which means that my counter, the company that I worked for, made the most increase in sales out of everyone on the floor.
Wow.
At that time, the company I worked for was not considered a luxury makeup brand, and I beat out all of the luxury companies on the floor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We can spend the whole show on that because I want to know what technique you used. I mean, what is it about your approach that ended up helping you break records?
Actually, all of it ties into the current business, so it fits. One thing I realized is my uniqueness. And then I started just operating in my uniqueness. And then also, one thing that I say today is try to be more curious than you are judgmental, because you never know what you're going to learn. And so I was an awesome seller, but I was able to elevate my skills with trainers. And, they would come to me on the side and just say, Latoya, look, this is how you can just get it done. Especially when we talk about pre-selling, which is selling a certain amount per day, but then also selling for the future, for a future event. And so they taught me the tricks of the trade. I'm a visual learner. I watched so many people and how they worked these customers, but let's just be honest, gave them full service. So that goes back to luxury.
Are you good at upselling?
To me, it's not really upselling. For me, I'm really interested in taking care of the client. So that's why I'm good at what I do, because I care about the entire client and I don't leave them. So it's never about upselling. It's just what I love to do.
Okay. Tell us about your first initial experience in LA and how it all went down.
So I got fired from another job where I broke the record. Okay. They fired me right after. After I also trained one of the team members on my team to get promoted to a luxury company. They fired me after. I was escorted
you
out
said
of
with a smile, so it wasn't so traumatic.
It was very traumatic for a long time. And right now I can laugh at it. But for many years, it was something that I would come to tears when I talk about.
Why?
Just because of the mistreatment in terms of, you come in here, you want to work so hard, and then you say, what is the goal? And then you accomplish the goal. And then you want a succession plan. And then they just look at you like you're crazy for wanting to move forward and elevate yourself. And so that's what was happening to me. Behind the scenes, they were telling my staff things that they weren't communicating to me. And so essentially they were ready to just leave me out there when I had worked so hard for them. And so that to me was a major paradigm shift in how I needed to start thinking about myself, my worthiness.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
I would work 12 hours and break records for them and go home not even knowing how to bend my legs and have to take medicine. And you guys have the nerve to put me in an interrogation room for 2 hours?
Was it like a hearing or
It was an interrogation.
Yeah.
I want to make that very clear. Yeah.
What they alleged you had done wrong?
That's the thing. So that's one thing you learn about when someone interrogates you. They don't know. They don't have any information on you. So what they're looking for is for you to admit wrongdoing yourself. I had heard prior, the day before, one of the women on the retail floor, she came up to me. She said, they pulled every last one of us off the floor to find information about you. Something's about to happen. And so I said, thank you very much for letting me know. I pulled my client book of 300 clients and I took it home that day.
Kept it there.
Yeah, because when you get in the room and they escort you out, then you can't take it. Well, you can't take it anyway. But I worked hard for 300 clients. I'm taking that book home. I took that book home, and the next day they pulled me in an interrogation for 2 hours.
Wow.
Because everyone on the floor had nothing on me. The reason why I believe they wanted me to go is because another thing I learned is that people don't work for companies, people work for people. And so those people weren't treating me well. So I wasn't making the money for them. Remember, I had broke records. And in retail, you have to do the same number or 20% more better the next year. But I wasn't doing that. I was doing the bare minimum just to not get fired. And even my bare minimum, I was still getting accolades in these meetings. I did not even know how to get fired correctly.
Yeah.
But they realized that was going to hurt them because there was a massive number of sales that I wasn't making.
Okay.
And so I stopped working for them.
Okay.
And so they said we had to get this girl out of here.
Shoot.
Yeah.
And then you go to LA, then whatever.
So then I go to Vegas. Let's be clear. I take my money from unemployment.
You went first to Nevada.
To party.
Yeah.
After I got fired.
Yeah.
I went to Vegas and had a good time and then came back.
To some kind of therapy, wasn't it?
Yeah, at that point I got fired so many times, but I didn't like the situation, but also I really felt that God had something for me. When I was escorted out of the building, I had one of the big makeup companies call me for a phone interview. This was within seconds of me getting escorted out the door. And I took that as a sign from God that he did not want me to sit in that hopelessness and sit in that low self-esteem. So I never got an interview after that, but I just think God did that on purpose for me. So I went to Vegas.
He works in mysterious ways.
He does.
Yeah.
And so I went to Vegas, and then when I get back, I knew I don't want to be here. My cousin at the time was she was getting married to this man that I didn't know who he was, but she asked me to help plan his wedding. And when they get to Chicago for the wedding, they're both like, you need to come to LA.
So you became a wedding planner?
No, just for her.
For that event only.
And let's be clear, we just booked a restaurant and booked a private area. It wasn't like I did much. Don't hire me for a wedding planner. Okay.
Okay. No, that's clear. But I mean, it's just a one-off for your friend. Yeah.
Yes. After 2 days of me doing my cousin's makeup, her and her husband was like, you should really come to LA. At that time, I was thinking about New York. New York is like a second home to me. But they said LA, and I said, if you help me out to get a place, I'll move to LA. And this is the next thing that she said is the single thing that changed my life. She said, I can't do this for you. I thought about it, and I went back home and I said,
this as in change for you.
Help me to get an apartment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do this for you. You need to do this yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, when I thought back and reflected, I said, I've always done it myself. I actually don't need her. And I want to also tell you that her husband is Mahershala Ali, 2-time Oscar winner.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
He was in my face like, you need to come to LA.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Somehow I went to sleep that night, and I woke up and 4 things happened in my life that made me change and say I'm moving to LA right away. I don't remember 2 of them, but one of them was I saw Oprah on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and he was talking
Andy Cohen.
Andy Cohen.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the book The Power of Now. And she was saying
with Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was just saying, I don't worry about the past. I don't worry about the future. I just worry about right now. And I was like, okay, right now I want to move to LA. So that was like one sign. I don't remember the other two, but the other thing that happened that I remember, my dad is one of the cheapest people in life. Okay, the most frugal person. If he
there's
gives
cheap and there's frugal, but he's
both.
cheap.
He's both.
Yeah.
If he gives you money, he's gonna actually when he's getting it back, and he wants it back.
Yeah.
So I said, if I call my dad and let him know that I want to move to LA, I want to move in your house for 6 months, pay you no rent. I want to save up. If this man lets me do it, as cheap as he is. This is a sign from God. I called my dad. I said, Dad, I want to move to LA. It's time. I'm ready to go. I want to do something more. I want better. I need to move in your place and I give you rent. And the first thing he said was, get your stuff and come on over.
No hesitance.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wow.
Knowing him,
wow, okay, God is really talking to me. I had already heard it, but this confirmed it. I sold all of my stuff within a week.
Do you always look for a sign from God before doing something big?
I think when I know it's from God, I feel most confident in moving, right?
And you say, give me a sign. Give me a sign, God.
I don't even think I was asking for the sign. I think God was just letting me know it's time. You're ready.
All right.
And I felt it so strongly that when I feel that way, I'm more confident and I'm purposeful. I think there are always moments we're going to move and not necessarily be hearing God, and we just want to trust. Yeah. But God always lets us know, right? And so I do have that happening for me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you went to LA. Tell us.
Yeah. Moved in with
the
him.
initial experiences.
Moved in with him for 6 months. God said you need to have $3,500 within 4 months. Within 4 months, I counted $3,700 in cash. And then I had a party so that I could force myself to leave because I didn't want people saying, why are you still here? I thought you were going to LA. So I did that on purpose to force myself out because we always still have fear that we're grappling with. You know?
Oh, okay.
And so I had a party. Everybody come over my house.
A farewell party.
Farewell, but it was also because I didn't have time to go and visit everyone. So I had my family cook, and somehow my friends gave me an extra $1,000, which I did not expect. And then 3 days later, I jump in a car with my cousin and travel to Los Angeles. It would take us 2 days.
It was your first time ever there?
I had been there 5 days before as a teenager with my family.
Oh,
and
long
we
ago.
mostly stayed in Orange County. So that's not
probably
really,
in a hotel as well.
Or with family. I'm not really, it's not the same experience. But I'm being more led. This is purpose led. So it's different energy. So I got my cousin to drive. My best friend at the time said I'll pay for his ticket back. I just was getting so much support. It's interesting how family and friends, for the people that don't know how to support, how they do show support sometimes. I would never get the good job.
Sometimes out of nowhere, when you least expect it.
Yeah, I would never get the daily affirmation. But it was moments like a big move that like they cook so much food. And I know that this is a sign of like they love and, you know, are supporting me. And I was just overwhelmed by that. And so I get there and 2 days later I'm in Los Angeles and I'm literally taking a nap because there's a makeup show. There's a convention happening the next day that I got to be at because I got to get in there and start networking and I got to start making some money. And so within 2 days after that.
Were you invited or you just...
It's a convention, so you could just pay. As a makeup artist, you just pay. And I had already been to the Chicago convention, the Chicago version, so I had a sort of rapport with certain people.
So you knew how it works.
I mean, I just knew how that convention would go, but I know how I work. That's what I want to make very clear throughout this whole entire thing. I know how I work. So I know that I need to get in there, start networking, get in their face. It's all about exposure. Exposure never ends. And so I knew that I needed these people to know that I'm in LA. I'm looking for work. I'm looking for opportunities and get them all in one spot. So that was the goal for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you already had a sizable portfolio which you were able to network with, or you were winging it as you went along?
So where my portfolio and experience came in was retail. So I knew that from a retail background, I could go get a freelance job and at least make $20 to $25 an hour. I knew that. As far as my makeup, I had a portfolio, but it wasn't as strong. Yeah, it wasn't actually, so there was no like high profile clients in there. It was just like the usual wedding work, the usual girl who wants to take pictures but has no vision of what we all have no vision of what's happening.
Yeah.
You have that, which
Yes.
shows your sort of amateur status. But I knew I had retail, and again, the goal was exposure. So if I worked at all the retail stores, all I needed to do was
So
start
give me an
meeting.
example of how you go about networking. Hello, I'm saying so. How would you go about it? Give us a little play of it.
That's great, because that's totally what I'm here in Botswana doing every day.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Latoya De'Shaun. I'm a makeup artist here in Los Angeles. I specialize in personal makeup artists to high profile talent. If you would like to look at my portfolio, here's my website, and I'm available.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. And you don't name drop and say I've done it for so and so and so.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Not at
because
that
that's
point.
pretentious. And then also, when you live in a place like Los Angeles, you're bound to work on someone who's high
famous.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. You do makeup.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you do.
Yeah. All right. So you worked there for how long before coming to BW to Botswana?
Well, I was in LA from 2014. I left in 2021, so maybe 7 years before I made the switch. But so many things happened in that time. So in the first couple years, I moved around. I lived in 4 places within 2 years.
Okay.
I was living in people's living room.
Yeah.
I had odd jobs. So as well as having a retail career where you're mostly working on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was just having odd jobs here and there, like little clients along the way, little gigs in TV and film. But ultimately, the bills were coming and I didn't have enough money. When I started to really make a switch in my life was around 2018. And this was when I did have a really good client happening, but she was still fairly new. But really what was the turning point was when I passed out at a club in 2018. Yes.
Literally on the floor.
Yeah, I knew I was going to pass out. I could feel it. And I hadn't been drinking or anything, like nothing. But I had metamorphed in a different person and I was not in control. And
Were you not eating right?
No, everything was fine. I eat very well. I work out. Nothing.
So what caused you to pass out?
I didn't go to the hospital that night, so I can't answer that question. And I don't want to guess. But what I will say is that when I passed out, I was clinging to a dirty floor in a club. So imagine how I felt. It felt like a panic attack when you need to have cold floor, cold anything around you. And so I'm clinging to the floor, and it was very dirty. Once I came to, which took maybe about 10 minutes, and I had a friend who was there in the bathroom with me, who wouldn't leave me. I realized...
You lost consciousness for how long?
I don't know. I won't say I lost consciousness, but I just was not in control.
Oh, I see.
I could not get from
Because
below
when you
the
say
ground.
pass out, I think losing consciousness.
Pass out, which means I had to go to the floor. Losing consciousness is I was out. That's two different things.
Oh, okay. Okay. You just fell to the floor. Oh, you had to go to the ground.
I knew I was going to go down. So I said, let me start making my way or else this is going to be real dramatic.
Yeah.
But I could not get up.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for like 10 minutes. And I had never been in a state like that. My friend was with me. Once I was able to get up, come to myself, I realized I needed to leave. And then I called the club.
The club, not the city. Yeah,
the club.
Yeah, okay.
And I call an Uber, and I then transitioned to the worst pain of my life. It was a piercing pain, like the pain that women experience when they have cramps. But this is like times 1,000. And now I'm screaming in the middle of downtown LA.
Oh no.
Yes. But again, the strong black woman gets in an Uber and tell them to take her home instead of the hospital, even though the Uber man was begging to take me to the hospital.
I can't understand why you didn't want to go. Nothing to do with, medical insurance, health insurance?
No, I just knew that the most they were going to do was dope me up, put me on some medicine just to get me calm. And I'd be sitting there for hours. And traditionally, when I go to the doctor in America, nothing's really wrong. I believe I just suffer from high levels of stress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You self-diagnosed yourself.
No, I won't say that. I mean,
maybe.
I've been through 4 years of therapy. This is also 4 years of therapy and being really reflective.
Okay.
Now, I really am somatic experiencing, which I learned. And so when life is not going well or something, I feel it. My body is impacted by it.
Yes.
So, I don't want to self-diagnose because I didn't go to the hospital that night, right? Let's go back to that. But I did go to the doctor afterwards because I was concerned. And so this led me...
A couple of days later.
Yeah, I think I made an appointment or something. Because you can't just go to the doctor a couple of days later in America if you want to be really seen by your doctor.
Yeah.
But I made it happen. And I started a journey of realizing I had fibroids. And I would then, the next 6 months, go into chronic pain every day.
I wonder what causes those things.
Stress. Stress.
Okay.
Because
it's what? It's just things that form
a non-cancerous fatty tumor. That's what it is.
Stress manifests itself as a non-cancerous fatty tumor.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And it definitely impacts a lot of Black women.
Okay.
Yeah, we're the biggest population of women who have it.
Okay.
But I did join a community, and there are women suffering all over the world.
Oh.
It's an issue we don't talk about much. But if I was to tell you that I had it, or as a man, he would say, "Oh, my sister, or my mom, or my aunt went through this." So again, it's not like they're not aware either. We're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
At this time, when I passed out at a club, I was dating a guy who is Ugandan, grew up in Kenya, went to college in San Diego. He also had a really good job. He was the first man I ever dated with a nice amount of money and was generous.
It helps.
It's the best. And then he worked a job where he worked between America and Kenya. So 2 years prior to meeting him, I had said that I was going to go visit Africa. That it was time. What am I doing? I declared this.
So that's another sign.
I declared this. Yeah. Well, also my friend had became a full-time traveler as well. So when she got to Kenya, she said, "You need to come over here. You need to come to Africa." And so that gave me the push.
Full-time traveler, as in someone who's on online, posting how they move, or just.
No, she quit her job as a lawyer for a big company in Los Angeles, and
she decided to travel.
Yeah, she has her own unique, dynamic story. But she started traveling full time.
Interesting, because some of them do it for purpose of having social media presence in there.
I don't believe that. I believe behind every face is a story. They're just not everybody is as comfortable with uncovering the deepest, darkest parts of themselves. They just disguise it behind good pictures.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, there was time to go to Africa now. You made up your mind.
Yes, I did.
You came to BW, Botswana.
So she was in Kenya. I had a girlfriend who met a man in Dubai. He was Ugandan, so she was getting married. It just all made sense. 33 days in Africa. I got the money. I'm ready to go. I get there, and then he also was going to be in Kenya working at the time. And so he said, "You want to go to South Africa and Botswana?" I didn't know what Botswana was. I was just like, I don't care.
This is 2020?
2019.
2019.
So
just before COVID.
Just before COVID, yes. And so I get there. I go to Dubai first, and then I go into Kenya. And then I don't want to tell too much of this story, but pretty much this man came out to be a little deceptive in his ways.
Kenyan man.
African men.
Let's just keep it to him.
Native African men.
Yeah. Let's not generalize, please. I'm here to defend
I can't.
the
Native
gender.
African men. And so he was a little deceptive in his ways, which caused a lot of contention on the trip. And so by the time, once we got to Botswana, I was a bit fed up with him.
Is that code for saying he had other women or had another woman?
He had a whole family. Yeah. even though I was very clear on that he had a baby and this woman, and they weren't married or anything. And of course he's taking care of her. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. But in terms of me keeping my suitcase there because I didn't need all of my suitcases when traveling to the South, it became a big problem as to why I couldn't keep it. So I literally had to call my friend who wasn't in Kenya at the time to call her friend who wasn't in Kenya at the time, who was in London, to drop my bags off at her place. This is when I'm like, this is a problem.
Clearly, it was unsustainable. Yeah,
from the very first day. And then we travel, and then it stays contentious. Reason why that's important is because he was going out, not coming in till in the morning, going to business meetings and telling me, don't ask him when he's coming back. I mean, he changed. He was not like this on American soil.
No.
Okay? And so while he was ditching me, I was meeting people.
He's the one who invited you.
Exactly.
He forgot about that part.
Well, yeah, I think he forgot I was American also, but that's another story.
Yeah.
That was another story. Not being the person that I am now and all the work that I've done, I did not know how to really speak up for myself, really hold firm boundaries and demand what I needed. But that, thank God I'm better now. But while he was ditching me, I was meeting people because I'm good at networking. It's just, I love the service industry. I'm always talking to people. I would meet someone at table 52 because that's where I was staying. I Towers.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Just next door to us.
Right there. I was staying in I Towers, and I would go up to the bar. It was either to have coffee or, depending on the day, a margarita. So the bartender there was so nice. Really, really loved him, Lorenzo. And he's like my good friend now. And so kept in contact with him. And then I also met Ben, who owns the hair salon in Massa Square. And so I kept a relationship with Ben because I needed to get my hair done. These are the people that will...
You had. Let me understand this. Originally you were in Kenya, and he said, let's check out Botswana and
South
Africa. But the deception was already manifest, or it became clearer when you were in Botswana.
Oh, no, it was very clear. Like I told you, the first day. But also, what am I going to do? I'm just starting this trip.
So you just sort of, tagged along.
Yeah, instead of holding a standard of like, I don't like what's happening. If this continues on, I'm not traveling with you, right? Something that I would do now that I didn't do.
But if you had done that, you wouldn't have been exposed to Botswana.
Exactly. That's why everything is always on purpose.
Okay.
Always. For sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Let's go back to where we were. So here you are. Lorenzo connects you with this hairdresser. What happens?
The Airbnb people connects us to the hairdresser. And so I just kept in touch, thought it was a good relationship. And I loved Botswana because, number one, the people are the best part to me. It was the camaraderie. It just felt like home. It felt like Chicago. Remember, I had been in LA for a while, and LA is very different. And so I was home. I felt it.
So what are the similarities between Chicago and Botswana?
The people, we're just really chill. We know how to just get together and braai and, watch a good game. And it's pretty easy, and
laid back.
Yeah. LA is not like that.
I'm worried about the crime though in Chicago. Oof.
I'm worried about the crime here in Botswana. Ooh.
Yeah.
We can talk about that also for days.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
But maybe it's exaggerated or what, I don't know.
The same way it's the same conversation. Remember, we have a whole gender-based violence issue that we keep on talking about, not talking about here.
Okay.
Exactly. So you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah. So you end up deciding, look, I'm staying. I'm not going back.
Well, when we left, because I did my 33 days and I went home, but I knew when I left, I cried. Not only the music. This is the same music I grew up on. They play this on our radio stations. So when I tell you, it just felt like home. And so when I left, he said, why are you crying? He was like, you didn't cry anywhere else we went. He was like, this is the only place you tried to learn the language or say hello to them. He's just like, what is it? I was like, I really like it. I don't want to go. I need more time. And then also when I went to the stores, I looked at the beauty and the makeup and how it was positioned. You still had makeup where most of the colors didn't suit the women here. I just saw what the problems are.
You saw an opportunity.
Absolutely. Especially when it's so difficult in America to really be seen with your talents as a black person, as a black woman. I just wanted to help and truly serve. And so I just said, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay. Let me ask you, what are the values that guide your life? If you got to talk about values.
So when I get back to America, me and this guy, we stay in separate hotels. This is how tumultuous it got. And I was so full of low self-esteem. I was so hopeless when I got back. My friends didn't recognize who I was. And
you went back to LA?
Back to LA. They did not recognize me. I was so reactive to life difficulties. It was bad. And this was also the first time that I'm really seeing that this is a problem. If this guy is going to start emotionally abusing me and all these things, surely this hasn't been, he's not the first person doing this. So it was a deep dive into I got to get my life together, and I'm not leaving my house until I do it. So I bought a journal and I opened it up, and it started with starting over. I wrote that at the top of the page, and I just pretty much laid it all out. God, this is how I'm feeling, and this is how I would like to feel. Right? I started to look at articles that asked me the question, what do I want to do for my life? How do I want to be? Do I want to teach? Do I want to help? Just fill in the blank. I began to smile, and I led with that. And so when I started to smile, and I kept going to how the house I wanted to live, how I wanted it to look, who's going to help
all
me?
This now is 2020, right?
This is, 2019. This
Still
is the
2019.
next month I got back off the plane.
Okay.
I said, I'm not leaving this house. I'm hopeless.
I understand.
And so when I wrote that list, I said to myself, what is the one thing that I can do to start showing up for myself, right? I decided what that was. And that got me to my first principle of my first value. My first principle of my company is you must decide, right? No matter what's happening to us, we're still responsible for making sure that we design the life that we want. And so when I asked myself, what is the first thing I can do to show up? That was me taking it back, that ownership back.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I went on a spiritual development journey that started, and I really just tapped into that more because I knew how I made meaning of the world, but I needed to go deeper, in a way that gave me peace as I went out in this world again. So first principle, you must decide. Second principle is enter the dreaming zone. That's that radical level of belief. Remember, I told you I was writing a list down of what I wanted to do and be. That list is not so radical if you think about it. It's probably the stuff you've been saying since you've been a teenager. Oh, I want to have a big car. I want a big house.
I want lots of money in the bank.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Only you're 30 now.
Yeah.
And you're not the little kid anymore. And you can actually you make this happen for yourself. So enter the dreamy zones, that radical level of belief, that place that you don't think that you deserve to be.
It's a very interesting choice of words there. Enter the dream zone with a radical level of belief. That sounds like an interesting phrase. Where does it come from?
My life and how I've always operated. When I went to LA, hey, I'm going to work on celebrities. I didn't have any connections. I just said, I'm going to go. When I was 14 years old and I went up to my boss at my church, I want to work in your banquet. I want to work with your company, not go work at Chili's or anything like that. Let me go work at your company. I've always been that type of person. I've been radical in what I've always thought I could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Botswana specifically. You're coming here.
Yes.
When did that happen? And what was the impetus there?
Awesome. So after I wrote that list and said, how was the first way I could show up for myself? I started reading books. I started looking at different YouTube videos, started looking at sermons, all these things. I was just getting in position, right? Mastering the basics is what I call it. And so around December of 2019, I still had my one high profile client. And then I was working in TV and film, doing documentaries. And I worked on one film that changed my life. I had been the first time
When you say doing documentaries, what are you doing?
So I work on TV and film. That's one facet of me being a makeup artist. So it was a documentary that would be seen on HBO.
In other words, you are preparing those actors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm a makeup,
and your name would appear in the credits.
Yes,
at the
it
bottom.
does.
Yeah,
absolutely. And this one was seen on Showtime.
Okay.
Showtime, so a big cable network in America.
What is the name of the documentary?
It's called Bitchin', The Sounds and Fury of Rick James. So
it's about the life of Rick James.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
I need to see it.
It's so good.
Is it available on Netflix?
No, it's Showtime specific.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You have to figure out some other way to get it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my name is big.
Wow.
And my name is the only name that's that big.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's on purpose. Yeah. So after that, while I was shooting, again, going through things in my personal life, realizing how my family and our dynamics have impacted how I feel about myself. I was already doing therapy, reading the books, doing the things.
Personal development.
Yes. I was in it. I was in it to win it. And so once I got another disappointment from my mom and my family, I heard God say, I need you to listen to me. Listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. For 1 year, I heard this.
In your spirit?
Yeah, I heard it.
Not physically?
Yeah.
Or in a dream?
No. Because how it happens for me, I'll just sit down or I'll just be like, and it's just like, I very much hear this. And so I heard him say, listen to me for a year, because your problem is you know how to give love. You don't know how to receive it. I need to put you in a space where you could receive love.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard it. Because my family, they were just disappointing. They were just a big disappointment. Let's just be honest. And then COVID comes. No, December 19th, 2019. So that same month, I wrote the life that I really wanted. And I got even more specific. So I wrote down where I wanted, the house I wanted, the business I wanted, how much I wanted to make, what was going to be the areas in my business, everything. I said, God, I need this much money to get this business going. Okay? I don't want to live in America. I wrote that down. Get me out of here. And so I wrote down, I said, if this is what God wants for me, then by December 2021, I'm going to leave America and I'm going to party for a month. I call it luxuriate. But basically party.
Yeah.
And then if this is what God wants, he's going to put me in Botswana in January of 2022 to start working building my business. And from that point that I wrote that December 19, 2019, I went on a journey of being incredibly obedient. And by December, I think I left December 20th, 2021. And I got on a plane to go to...
Well, tell me about this 1 year,
Yeah, definitely. So...
Yeah, where were you this 1 year before coming?
So the 1 year that he said to be obedient, right? COVID happened right after. But again, I just had the Rick James documentary. The beginning of the year, my client had asked me to fly out to New York to be on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Yes, we flew out to New York. My first time. I'm like, what? Career is changing. And this is the same day my other client had just...
You've been interviewed by Trevor Noah.
Not me, my client.
Yeah,
remember, I'm the makeup.
Yes, when you're behind the scenes.
Yes, I'm behind the scenes, which I love also. At the same time, my client, who is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter, right?
By the name of?
Patrice Cullors.
Yes.
I love her. She had a bill, something voting... Yes on R. She put this on the ballot. She campaigned and they won. This was my first time going to a campaign party. While I'm doing her makeup to go to the campaign party, my other client, who's Nneka Ogwumike, who's the president of the WNBA and plays as a forward for the National Basketball
Association,
and a forward for the Los Angeles Sparks, gives me a call and say, hey, can you come to New York? I'm going to be on the Trevor Noah show, and we need to finish that Adidas photo shoot that we had last month.
Wow. Exciting stuff is happening.
I'm like, yes. And here I am still being of high service, of full service. I get off the phone with her and I'm in front of my client. Okay, so what do we need to do to make sure you're okay? I have my assistants. What do you have going on? She said, if you don't put that down and enjoy what just happened, she was like, I will be fine. Go to New York and have this opportunity. And I was just like, thank you. So I partied at the at the campaign party.
Partying keeps cropping up in your life. It's important to relax.
LA. Well, actually, it's partying / networking. But I went because I wanted to show my face, and I also wanted to be a part of that moment. That was a history-making moment, but I had to cut it short, get home, pack my bags, go to New York that morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then after we go to Daily Show, and I corner Trevor Noah in the back room and tell him what's happening with your film, because I know he's working on it right now, and that he's trying to still get it off the ground, actually. We go into COVID.
He wants to do that book that he wrote.
Yeah, he's still trying to get that going. So I just
what's something a crime.
Born a Crime.
Born a Crime.
One of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah,
Everyone should read it. Get the Audible though.
No,
Get the
yeah.
A week later, we would go into COVID, and everything was shut down. So all that work. Remember the networking that I did? I cornered him. I cornered his assistant. They gave me the information.
Yeah, everything was lined up. Yeah.
And then we go into COVID, and then the world stops. But God said, you don't stop. I didn't tell you to stop. Because then I was working very specifically. He said, you need to lose 20 pounds because you've just suffered through your surgery. So in 2019, after I wrote that list, I went into the surgery June of 2019. Okay. I had to remove my fibroids.
Oh, yeah. You eventually had to remove them.
Yes.
I thought this condition is reversible.
No, the likelihood that women can remove their fibroids naturally, it's very low.
Oh, okay.
Most people have to choose certain options. Yeah, so got that done. The recovery takes a while. I gained weight, stressed out, all of that. But God said it's time to lose weight because you need a branding photo shoot because you're going to be everywhere. I'm going to have you everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So while the world was sitting down, I was climbing hills in LA. I was intermittent fasting. I'm juicing everything. It's wild. I even started my lemonade company during that time.
What does it do? Sells lemonade?
Yeah. I call it My Kind of Lemonade. Yeah.
Is this available here in Botswana yet?
I've been making it for people, but
okay,
that's a different story, a different topic.
We'll have to invite you back for that one.
I'll just make you some and bring it up here next time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I went into this photo shoot, and then right before the photo shoot, we're still resting in COVID, and George Floyd gets killed.
Oof. Yeah, that was 2020, I think.
So we're sitting down, nothing to do. We're all in this together. And then George Floyd gets killed. And then my client goes to work for the rest of the year every day. So
obviously he has to do a lot of TV shows.
A lot of TV shows. So I went to work basically every day that year and served her. While also still having other clients on the side. But it was
the number one client.
Yeah, she was my number one client for sure. Yes. And it was an honor to serve and just be around during that time.
And do you obviously politically did you agreed with what she was about?
Yeah, she's about. If you listen to her story, it all stems from the way her dad was treated, being incarcerated, the way her brother has been treated and suffered through his mental health, and how the police have really not been a support for them. Really has done the opposite in how they've taken care. So her story speaks to it. I don't think that anyone would choose that kind of life. I don't think Martin Luther King was sitting down saying like, all right, let's do it. No, there's certain people
it's thrust upon you.
There's certain people called to do that. And you know that you could literally die every day just because of the hate. Like that's only for a certain person. Yeah.
All right. Now we want to talk about the decision to come to Botswana now. That you eventually did what? Latter part of 2020?
Yeah, so again, the year ended in December
2021,
of 2020 of God saying, listen to me, only me. So in that time, George Floyd gets killed. We go to work every day. Next thing you know, I go from making $4,000 a month to $20,000 a month. But I want to be very clear. It was a culmination of all the work that I was doing. I was highly sought after. Once you go to one production studio, then they're calling you saying, hey, are you available? I had built the connection. I knew what I was good at now. I had that affirmation from that producer working on that documentary. I'm on fire. I know how to negotiate gigs. I have mentors now that I'm sending everything to, so they're helping me negotiate the rate. I am just accelerating my experience in this entertainment industry. And then I said, I get it, God. I get what you wanted me to do. Not only I wanted this business so bad in personal development, but I still needed to grow. So I was doing the personal development thing, and then he accelerated the business part.
How powerful is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I went
How
from
wonderful
saying,
he is.
I told God, I said, I want $20,000 to start this business. I ended up getting $50,000 to start this business. I've never had $50,000.
Where you get the money from?
All my gigs.
Okay.
I'm a personal makeup artist to high profile talent. That's a higher level. You get paid more when you're with the client as opposed to just going on the production set.
Yeah, because in a sense, the client is stopping you from seeing other customers.
Not even really. So take, for example, your show right now. Let's say you had a makeup artist on set or someone who cuts hair and you offered that service and you paid them like whatever rate you paid them. If Beyonce comes on your show, let's just make it very obvious. You're paying Beyonce's makeup artist a lot of money to do their makeup. And you're going to pay whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because you want her on the show. So you can go from making, let's just make a number of like maybe $500 to be on set for 12 hours to make $5,000 to be there for 40 minutes.
Interesting.
That is the difference between working in production and then being personal makeup artist to high profile talent.
Okay.
So I like that kind of lane. Okay.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and so you get to make you it's an overpaid industry when you learn how to navigate it. So yeah. Anyway, had the money. I became very focused, and then I pretty much severed ties with all of my clients. I got my final health. I got a lipoma surgery in October of 2021, and then I got on the road in December of 2021. Yes, and then I came over to Botswana, and my goal was to have a workshop and to just introduce my business, but also to practice talking to people and networking with people. That's why Botswana was chosen, because it's just the camaraderie of the people and how I'm able. You guys know everybody here. I'm able to do business good here. Doesn't happen like that everywhere else. And so I had a workshop last year called Gain Confidence, Transform Your Life.
When was this?
This was March 12th of 2022.
And who was eligible to attend? Everybody.
Well, it was actually only for women at that time. Being in the country a little bit longer and being more intimate with it, I did see the gender-based violence as and wanted to hold a space for women to be able to empower them, but to also move them forward in their careers. So it was only for women, but in that time, I realized that men wanted to come. They were trying to get in the room. And, which
leads to a question, if I interject a little bit. How do you help creatives succeed in the entertainment industry here in Botswana?
For me, it's all about recommitting to the life you always deserve. That we have to start there first before you can even actualize a career, a successful career in the entertainment industry. If you notice in this conversation, I spent more time talking about personal. The professional, we don't need to talk as much. You know why? Because I'm already qualified. You've already invited me. There's a level of value that I already have that is not, I don't have to explain. But the internal struggles, right? The internal factors that really hold us back, no one wants to talk about. I'm spending this much time because I know how much it matters to be able to succeed.
Yeah, it does. So you, since coming to Botswana, how has it been on the business side?
You know, I love these people. I love these people here. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
When I tell you it's a dream realized, I'm emotional every time I have a really great meeting. I'm emotional every time someone says, how can I help you? What else do you need? You know, you don't get that in America in the same way. And so for me, I'm just in awe at all that I said I wanted to do and how it's being actualized by working in this country and just the bigger opportunity I see for this country to be exposed for how great it is.
Wow. You're planning something for the 18th of March. What exactly are you planning?
This is a workshop for creatives, geared towards creative in certain sectors. And it's called The Blueprint to Succeeding in the Entertainment Industry.
The blueprint.
Yes, the blueprint. Better creative, the blueprint to succeeding in the entertainment industry.
And you cover what exactly?
So we're going to, first of all, talk about how to design the life you want. We have to start there. And I use the high achievers method. What do you want?
Based on your own life?
Yeah, and the framework that I've created. So I've created all kind of frameworks, all kind of graphs, everything. And so we're going to go through my framework to get you to personal freedom. And so the first one is recommitting to the life you want, designing the life that you want. We're going to talk about that. That's going to ask you a few questions about what do you want? Why do you want it? What is the impact on your life? That's the framework. I'm showing him the framework, guys. I'm
Mindset, community strategy.
3 pillars to this company.
And then, of course, you have finance, career, relationships, health, and spirit.
That's the pathway. That's what you work on. That's how you master the basics, how you work on your habits and your discipline. So we're going to move from, as I help them recommit to the life they deserve, I'm going to challenge them to master the basics and show up for themselves. Then we're going to move into creating your signature service. A lot of people, especially people in creatives, and this is a personal play, if someone's telling you they're doing a whole bunch of things, like they're a makeup artist, they're a photographer, they do hair, know that these people are not making money. Okay? They are not a master of their craft, and they're not even trying to work on it.
So in other words, specialize.
Yeah,
to specialize.
Stop being a jack of all trade and a master of none. You need to be able to master your craft so that you can leverage other opportunities, which means you need to be in this for the long run.
For instance, if I take you as an example, you're a master of makeup, and the way I get from talking to you, also a master of storytelling.
I'm a master service provider is what I also, I don't know about the storytelling. It actually feels good
very
coming
good
from
at,
you.
Yeah.
I'm working on it because I have a goal. And if you want to know what the goal is, I'll share. But I do consider myself a master service provider. It is my honor to serve. I'm not your servant.
Yeah, but do you serve in a specific area? Is there a specific lane? Would makeup be the lane, or service just broad enough for you to just park there at service?
I'm at the service of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I cook you a meal, whether I do your grooming before you go on camera.
I'm only saying that because you said you shouldn't be master of all. You should be master of one, or focus on your specialty.
Well, my specialty is that I consider myself to be a master service provider. To be true, I know how to serve, but I also have a specialty of working in the entertainment industry and helping creatives succeed. Yeah. So but it stems from service.
Yeah, you shared a little bit on you having a goal, or you having something you're working on. You're willing to touch on that?
So when I succeeded in makeup, I went from 4 figures a month. 4 figures in 45 minutes. Okay, that was a really big goal of mine, because my goal was do makeup as quick as you can, so that I can be available for lunchtime to hang out with the people that I love. I wrote that down. Okay. Now I'm happy that you think I'm a good storyteller. I've been practicing, but now the goal is I want to speak and do like a 45-minute talk, or give me 15 or less than that for 6 figures. So now that's the new goal. Okay. I want to make 6 figures, American money, in 45 minutes.
You will.
I will. I'm sure.
You're probably starting to do that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Nuggets of wisdom you want to share as we conclude our conversation?
So what I want to tell people is that you have to have something that is propelling you every day, or else you're not going to keep going, right? So you need to really believe in your vision.
Your why.
Your why. And not your first why, your 5th why, because it's going to start somewhere with your career, but it's going to end somewhere with personal development. And you wanting to take care of folks, and you wanting to have a good life. Stay there. Believe in your vision. And also show up for yourself. Right? It's really important.
Which is what you did from 2019 situation to 2020.
To now.
Yeah. I mean, that you just decided enough is enough. Okay.
Yes. It's an everyday process. It's an inside job. It's an everyday job.
Okay. So if I asked you about your brand in terms of the next 5 to 10 years, what would you say? What does your crystal ball tell us?
So in 5 or 10 years, my goal is that Patent Leather Project is seen as the premier place to go for creatives in the entertainment industry. That we help you succeed, recommit to the life that you deserve through a nurturing lens. That companies and people all over will want me to come through to help empower and inspire. The bigger goal is, my goal is to have 7 women
Mm-hmm.
who are going to take my place and retire me out of my job.
That's a succession plan, right?
That is the succession plan.
Wow.
I want to build 7 women who are going to be even more dynamic than me. This is vision talk also. That can take me out and retire me so that I don't have to have be at the forefront of my company anymore, but that the dream still lives.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I notice your phone doesn't stop ringing.
That's not my phone.
Oh.
That's out there.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I thought you were touching your phone.
No.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have because it shows you're in demand.
No, I will. It in due time.
Yeah, yeah.
But right now, I'm a startup. I'm building. I'm showing myself what I'm made of throughout this process. This is my 2nd year in Botswana. This event is going to be even more dynamic. So I'm not just about wanting to be seen. It's not just about a dress code. I really care about you moving forward and having you succeed. So that's why there is a small fee, because I only want people in the room who want to be there.
What is the small fee?
It's 250 pula. Who
Nominal.
knows? I might make it free if I get all the sponsors. When I get all the sponsors, let's say that. But I will tell you that we're going to have my dynamic presentation. I'm looking to get a really big special guest. I have a cocktail hour being sponsored. I can't say the name right now, but I'm signing that contract soon. We do have Gaps at Film on board, Avani, and so many more.
And where is it taking place? Avani
on 18th of March, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to have a DJ. It's going to be a party. Think about LA, all right? I kept talking about a party. Right?
Yeah, you did. And I think your definition of a party might be slightly different from mine.
Networking.
Yeah, you think of a party as networking. Yeah. That's what I figured
the
out.
entertainment industry.
Yeah,
when you go outside, you're always meeting
Yeah.
everyone. And that's the feedback I get from people here. They say, you don't stop. You will go and touch the artist. You will go look at the photographer. You want to know who the manager is. Who is the person who's the promoter? I need to know everybody.
Okay. As we conclude our conversation, and I've been mesmerized. I really enjoyed our conversation. What would you say, in one word, was the biggest setback you've had, and how did you overcome it?
Resilience.
Yeah. That's how you overcame it. But the setback was? Is that the one to do with that Kenyan situation?
No, to be honest, I don't think that anything is a setback. Everything is always on purpose. So we need to really look at not why things are happening to us, but why it's happening for us. But as I continue to go on and be so courageous, I know that it's the resilience
You've
that
answered
I have.
my question.
Yeah.
You've answered my question brilliantly. Do you have any question for me as we part?
You know, it's all about exposure. I'm going to make sure that I expose you as well. So think about America. Think about the whole world right now. What is that message that you want to send out to people so they remember you by?
Yeah, I want to be seen as somebody who wants to serve. You know, my tagline speaks of it: enthuse, energize, inspire, and empower. That's what I want to be able to do. I want somebody to say there's a guy somewhere in Gaborone by the name of Mogobe who wants to make a difference in people's lives in terms of exposing people to entrepreneurial information and also mentoring them directly and indirectly. So I can't put it in one word, but I want somebody to say he empowered. If somebody can say I was empowered by him, that's enough.
I mean, that's servant leadership right there.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Okay, that's your camera there. Just say a few words of wisdom, words of inspiration as we get ready to wrap up to the viewer.
Latoya De'Shaun, you guys are worthy. Know that you are. This battle in life will always be you against you. And if you can believe and dream the desires of your heart, they can happen. Just raise the price at what you think you're worth. You deserve it.
Okay. All right. Now, how do they reach you in social media and elsewhere?
Yeah, so Instagram, Latoya De'Shaun, LatoyaDe'Shaun. You can go to my LatoyaDe'Shaun.com. Just search me. My company's Patent Leather Project. Patent Leather Project. You can go to that website, also that Instagram page. But truly, I'm around. You can click me if you need makeup, if you need mentorship. I'm around. It's a luxury service before you call. Okay.
All right. And then, of course, what can they learn when they come on the 18th? What can they expect?
You're going to learn how to succeed in the most prominent industry in the world and also get the life you've always deserved.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful guest. You've done
Thank
wonders.
you for having me.
Yeah.